Welcome back to Night TV.
Talk to me.
First things first, my intro needs some work. With that being said, now that you're here, let me get a few things out of the way. First and foremost, I've seen all of your comments. I've read your encouraging words, your constructive criticism. Someone suggested that I include a backstory to some of the people that I feature here on this channel. And let me just say, I think my intentions got a little lost in translation. As I stated, these are high profile cases here in the state. They're not really nationally covered all like that. Some of them are, but the real intent of this channel is to focus on some of the people that I've met while I was working in the prison system. So unfortunately, in me digging into their backgrounds and trying to find early information on them, a lot of that is not available because these stories are covered locally. As I find it, if I find it, I will try to include it. But a lot of times I just have to get into the meat and crust of the case because there's just no background information. That's South Carolina for you. As an added bonus, this case does have a snapped episode, a snapped killer couples episode, to be exact. That's a little bit of a tongue twister. But you guys are not here for that. You're here for the meat and crust of these stories. So let's get into it. Today's Death on a Dirt Road feature will be Christine Moody. After a tumultuous first marriage, Christine Moody was again looking for love. She finally landed on Jeremy Moody after visiting a few dating sites. Funny enough, Jeremy Moody was heavily involved in the church, which makes what happened next all the more shocking. Within a few months of dating, the two were married and inseparable. They were self-described neo-Nazis who hated certain ethnic groups and isolated sex offenders or child molesters, as they called them. Union, South Carolina, a small town of little more than 28,000 residents, was rocked when 59-year-old Charles Parker and his wife, Gretchen Parker, 51, were found stabbed and shot in their home, the biggest crime since Susan Smith. A customer arrived at the Parker house to have some work done on his car, only to be met by the couple's barking dogs. That same customer called the local police to perform a welfare check on the couple, and when they arrived, the couple's bloody and lifeless bodies were discovered in their living room. Charles was found with 2 bullet wounds to the chest, as well as several stab wounds. Gretchen, it seems, had been stabbed twice in the neck and once in the chest. As it turned out, investigators wouldn't have to look far and wide for leads. The Parkers had a video security system which showed Christine Moody's car parked in the Parkers' yard, with Jeremy Moody underneath the hood. Charles came outside to help, only to be forced back into his home at gunpoint. "I'm not here to rob you," Jeremy said. "I'm here to kill you." Jeremy was identified by his skinhead tattoo, which was prominently displayed across his neck. Christine Moody insisted she had no involvement in the crime, but would later retract, stating she had been a willing participant all along. The motive, you ask? According to the couple, they had been charged by God himself to kill sex offenders. The two had even gone to church that morning before going home to change clothes and to arm themselves with a gun that Jeremy's parents used for protection. Talk about ironic. Jeremy would later tell his mother from jail that God told him to do it. Needless to say, Tammy Moody disagreed. And I disagree with Tammy Moody. Because if your son was walking around with a skinhead and a neo-Nazi tattoo, you had to know something was up. But I digress. A look into Charles Parker's criminal background determined he was not a child molester, but he had an assault charge for a 31-year-old mentally challenged woman. The couple, it seemed, had searched the local sex offender registry and landed on a random name. Gretchen was collateral damage, but had to die also because she, quote, showed poor judgment by being with Charles. By all accounts, the Moodys had played judge, jury, and executioner in their vigilante efforts to rid the world of sex offenders. For their actions, they were each handed a verdict of life in prison without the possibility of parole. They snickered and laughed during court proceedings and even admitted on live TV that any expressions of remorse were brought on by their lawyer and their lawyer alone. Christine Moody told reporters, "Killing that pedophile was the best day of my life." When asked if she had anything to say to the victim's family, Christine answered with a resounding, "May they die also." I wish to add that Charles Parker did in fact have an offense involving a child, which occurred in 1991, but that does not entitle the Moody's to do what they did. So I am in no way condoning that. I just wanted to clear up that fact because, as I stated before, I am all about accuracy on this channel. It is also important to note that on their way out of the courtroom after having been sentenced with life in prison without the possibility of parole, Christine and Jeremy were shown kissing, hugging, just making a spectacle of themselves in court. I don't know how that was allowed. I'm not here to speculate on that, but all I'm saying that was in really poor taste, but that is what was allowed to happen. From what I understand, they had the same lawyer, so they were tried at the same time. There are photos that show the two of them in court at the same time, so you can take that and do with it what you will, but it was surely a spectacle. So what were my first impressions? Let me just say I've never met Jeremy a day in my life. Christine is who I encountered, and I initially met her back in 2013. And let me just say that was the funniest woman I think I had spoken to in a long time, inmate-wise. When I first met her, she had all of these tattoos all over, and I asked her, I said, well, what does that mean? Because it was like a swastika, or it was something racist, to the point that I knew it was a racist tattoo. And she said, it means that I used to be racist, but I'm not anymore. And from then on, me and her, we just clicked. You know, we started calling each other McGillicuddy, something with the Lucille Ball show, I Love Lucy. It just was an inside joke between the two of us, and by no means do I condone what her or her husband did, but I'm not here to play judge, jury, and executioner. That's already been done. I try to treat people with respect, and I will say that Christine she's a rather nice individual if you don't get on her bad side. And if you guys remember me lamenting about the fact that a lot of these people don't come to prison and continue their murderous rampage, well, Christine almost did, and she tried to kill this woman. Now, I won't mention her name because she may or may not be featured on an episode on this channel in the near future, but I digress. She used a brown toboggan, much like the one I have on my head, and she almost took this lady out, but she was caught at the right moment. But that was a fluke because she spent, a lot of time in lockup or solitary confinement, however you guys want to say it, and she did her time. And recently I heard from her, and she told me, she said, I haven't been in trouble, and what can I say? And no, she doesn't write me. I don't write her. We don't keep in contact, before you guys go digging into that. But I did get to speak to her over the phone. I was on the phone with someone else, and she happened to be in the background. But that's another story for another day. Let me just say that I can understand how this happened. I can understand why it happened. She's not shy to tell people about this at all. When they say she had no remorse, she has no remorse. She actually admits to killing more people, saying they fed them to the alligators all up and down the coast. That's just Christine for you. A lot of times you don't know what to believe. Do I believe it? Well, maybe, maybe not. But like I said, I'm not here to judge. But my first impressions of Christine were just that. She just was who she was. She never apologized for that. And I like those types of people. I like honest people. I like people who are the same way when you meet them from day to day to day. There's no change, and that's her. Regardless of what happens, she's always smiling. I've seen her down and out maybe for a little while, especially while she was on lockup, because I was down there for the majority of that time when this occurred, when she tried to, kill the other inmate for whatever reason. But she really she kept a good spirit about her. Christine is who she is, and if anybody tries to change her, they're going to find out really quickly that that's not going to happen. And a lot of us can take a lesson from that and just being genuinely who we are. I hate that she did what she did. I hate that she took justice into her own hands, but she had her reasons, and who am I to say anything more? I'm just here to tell you guys my encounter with these people and what I took from it, and that's what I took from it. Now, you can take that with a grain of salt, but I can't change that. I can't change who she is because she's not trying to change who she is. As I stated, I don't know her husband. I've never met him, but I will say that they write often, because when I used to pass out mail, I would see his name come across her mail slips, and I would see her giving, sending outgoing mail. to him. And, you know, I don't know if now the relationship continues because I'm no longer there. I never asked, you know, when I did get to briefly speak to her. And really, I don't care. But I'm just saying that a lot of times people in society are just, they're like Christine, they're like Jeremy. And if you're not careful, there's a lot of vigilantes out there, you know, underneath your nose that you may never think of. I never thought about anything like that. I mean, the biggest thing to me to come out of Union, South Carolina was Susan Smith, you know, and I never met her either because she's at the other women's institution because she caused some problems there at Camille Graham Correctional Institution. And from what I know, she can never return. But, you know, that to me was what I knew about Union, South Carolina until this little bitty woman came in here with this short haircut who I now call McGillicuddy. And she and her husband just went on this mission to eradicate the world of sex offenders. And from what I know, they only got one. And, you know, I don't know if they would have gotten more. But according to him, he said that, you know, had he not been caught that night, they would have kept on going. So shout out to Sheriff David Taylor and the Union County Sheriff's Department for getting them off the streets. But that's just that on that. So I'm going to go ahead at the risk of rambling and I'm going to sign off. Thank you for watching Night TV. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Let me know what you thought about this episode down below. Let me know if there's anyone you like to see in the state of South Carolina as far as females and males, and I'll try to cover them if I can. I'll let you guys know if I had any kind of interaction with them, whether it be at the institution or at the hospital, whatever the case may be. Let's chat, let's talk, let's grow this channel. Thank you guys for being here. I'll see you in the next one.